I've been in the industry now for 10 years. I actually started when I was 15. I'm 25 this year. I started as a gym instructor when I was 15. PT Toolbox is an educational resource for personal trainers where you can get like downloadable documents. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but if you want to check it out, then so I object. I'm a celebrity ghostwriter and a consultant for things like fitness DVDs, that sort of stuff. I'm a course tutor and assessor for about 5 or 6 different companies, so you know, like just standard CPD courses, level 2, level 3, that sort of stuff. I mentor a few PTs. I kind of fell into that role. I don't really do it that often, but if PTs need help, then I'm happy to oblige. And yeah, 10 years in the industry. So, as it says up there, when Rachel asked me to teach about business, I was thinking for days and days and days about what to write about and what to, you know, I teach this on quite a regular basis at universities and stuff. But the thing that gets me a lot of the time is you'll always get the latest kind of fitness tactic or the latest promotion. So I got an email yesterday from a guy in the States that said get 10 clients just by reading this email, which to be honest I think is quite a lot of bullshit a lot of the time. Okay, if it was that easy there'd be thousands of us making loads of money. So one of the things I was going to do is 40 tips in 40 minutes, kind of like speed dating, that sort of thing. But I thought, you know what, the principles of business shouldn't change. So as it says at the bottom there, methods change, the principles always stay the same. Similar with your training, you know, your high intensity intervals may always be high intensity intervals, but the method might change. It might be a spin bike, rower, burpees, whatever. So as I said, there's no difference between, say for example, one of your businesses, one of my businesses. The principles will always remain the same. I've said that like 8 times. So business itself can be, if you make it very, very simple. Again, you have to just know, you need to get the right strategy in place, you need to have the right methods and principles moving forwards, and you have to have the right direction. Okay? Without these skills, you then may start to struggle. So, for example, I also run a Facebook group called UK PT, some of you might be in it. UK personal trainers? Anyone? No? I think 2 people or 3 people. There are PTs in there that have been training like 20, 30 years, highly qualified, degrees, qualifications, you know, just you name it, they've got everything. However, they're still struggling on a weekly basis to fill their, say, 20 hours per week. So I find, normally, if we did like a mentoring course, something like that, I don't like calling myself a mentor because I'm not only 25, it makes me sound a bit of a douche, to be honest, but without those skills, then you're always going to come up short in one aspect or another. So, the rules in the presentation, and again, this won't be very long, mainly because I talk quite fast, so I had about 12 espresso. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these rules with you, and I've used them in numerous businesses, so from my website, my actual PT, which I've just restarted, which I'll explain in a minute, and also owning a cafe. That's a long story. I don't know how that happened. And then I'll give you examples and also the resources that I use for my websites, my clients. You know, I'll show you kind of everything that I use as well, because I'm awesome like that. Add to the boom. Okay, so the first rule is sell experiences, not products. So on this question, who here has ever been to see a drug dealer? I don't believe you guys. So hands up. So the drug dealer doesn't. I'm not saying this from experience, obviously. So they're not going to sell you their marijuana, for example, on the basis of the chemical compounds that it contains or where it's from. You know, they're not going to go on the merit of the actual product. They're just going to be like, this stuff gets you high. Okay, and they're selling you the experience. You go to a drug dealer to get high. That's what he's selling you. Okay, similar with your exercise programs. You came to the wrong video. So you need to be selling these experiences to your clients. So again, I'm not going to go into massive detail because your products themselves vary so massively. But as an example, I've just taken over the PT manager role at a gym near me, or a studio near me. And the owner was like, right, I want to do a 12-week rapid fat loss program. This is what we had before. And it was literally a 12-week program, 3 sessions a week. That's all they got. So I was like, well, why don't we make them feel like VIPs, make them feel like they're the best person in the gym, you know, really sell this to them. And you'll see the full product list of what we give them later on in the slides. Over-deliver consistently. So again, this comes back to your products as well. Even the best products and the best services will eventually start to decline if the retailer or the service operator isn't over-delivering consistently. So for example, we'll use this series of lectures today, things like giving out a goodie bag, things like the free lunch. That's going to make you more likely to come back next year, if there is one. Obviously it's going to be the next one. And it leaves kind of a good taste in the mouth, a good atmosphere, that sort of stuff, literally with the lunch, I guess. So, if you become known as the PT in the gym, that constantly over-delivers, you stand there with a water bottle, you're standing there with a protein shake waiting for your client, you're standing there with, for example, a towel, whatever. Okay, my coach, for example, who runs a CrossFit gym, which is a swear word in some places, he runs a CrossFit gym, he individually programs for every single member of his gym for free of charge. Which, to be fair, at first I thought, well, that's a bit of a stupid move. It takes him an hour a week, per person, blah, blah, blah. He has got now 3 assistant coaches. But from doing that, he grew from 30 members, which I think was 8 months ago, now to 95. So obviously the programming has had to slow down a bit. He's started handing out to other coaches. But you can see from that over-delivering, he's grown massively through that amount of time. So that's pretty simple. Okay, here's the example of my group training sessions.
They better be more bloody recipe books, mate.
They are. You read that wrong, don't worry. So, we charge £997 for 12 weeks. Maximum, well, I say maximum, it's 4 to 6, that's not a maximum, is it? 4 to 6 people on there, depending on how we feel, how much individual coaching time each person needs. So they get free water, towel, post-workout shake, it's blended up to their macronutrients at the end of their session. So if we say, right, they need 30 grams of carbs, blah, 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 that's all done for them at the end of the session, fresh. They get 4 group training sessions per week. They get nutrition plans, kind of if it fits your macro style, so flexible dieting. They get recipe books. I can't say where they're from, obviously, conflict of interest. They're from Karen's website. They get weekly measurements and weigh-ins. Weekly rewards for adherence, so we track all of their food logging on MyFitnessPal, and whoever has the most adherence gets a free PT session at the end of the week. So that's every week, consistently. If we get more than one person, it becomes a bit of an issue, but there's 4 of us doing it, so that's not really a problem. They also get online training program through PT Distinction.com, which also allows them to log any training they do outside of the gym, and similar to MyFitnessPal, it allows me to check up on them. Sound like a parent there, doesn't it? Well, I'm a parent, but it makes me not their parent. And they also get unlimited group classes within the studio that we work in as well. So for that, really, I'll be completely honest. When we add value to the sessions, the main thing I do is I say, right, how many hours per week am I going to look at spending with these people or on these people? And I work out my hourly rate, I say, right, cool, $37.50 or whatever. And then everything else on there is just, it looks good for them, but it doesn't really cost me much. So it's just about getting these systems in place to make sure it looks, well, you are over-delivering, but make sure it looks to the client like you're over-delivering. Does that make sense to everyone? Never undervalue yourself. So again, this is a really common one, and this makes me so angry. Mainly because there's a personal trainer near me, I won't say his name, but none of you are near me anyway. He charges between $7.50 and £10 an hour. Okay, and his clients, if I could load up some of the videos, they're ridiculous, like barbell cleaner jerks like this, to this, into a burpee, just crazy stuff. So, another PT that's actually a good friend of mine, who's actually my training partner, he said, does that not worry you? Because I've just started PTing. I said, not at all. But one of my favourite phrases when it comes to this is cream will always rise to the top. It's a self-proving industry, as you guys will know. How many people have you been friends with that later quit the industry to go back to a day job, that sort of stuff, because they can't make the money. And in the short term, it may seem like a good thing to be like, oh yeah, I've just sold 20 hours per week at £10 an hour, I'm really busy. But that's no lifestyle for anyone. I said to myself last week, actually, to give you a bit of background, I've got a 4-year-old daughter, and I'm not with the mum anymore, so it means that I have her about 50% of the time anyway. So it's like a split custody. So when I set up PT Toolbox, what was that, 2 years ago? A year and a half ago, I said, right, I want to be able to drop everything if I need to. So I can go to my little girl, whatever, go to plays, all that awesome stuff. So all the businesses that I've set up since then have been on the idea that I only want to work maybe 2 to 4 hours a day. And when you see in my magic black bag, and you'll see this little folder in a minute, everything I need to conduct all my business is in that, can be carried in that backpack. So I can work from wherever, whenever. Go back to the slide. So some of the problems with undervaluing yourself and also your products, lower adherence with clients. So the quality of clients you get are going to be lower. As you know, if you've ever had a friend say to you, oh, can you just write me a program? And then they do it, and you say, how's the program? And they go, oh, I wasn't following the program. And then they don't see, there's no perceived value there. They don't understand that it costs you, an hour, 2 hours of your time. You're working more hours for the same income. Clients will not see value in the products, as I just mentioned. This can often, as it says there, lead to a downward spiral or like a price war. So for example, with like Tesco and Asda, where's that going to end? 10p beans or what? So same with personal trainers. I will never ever price match anyone on PT. If they say, oh well, this person said they'll do it for £15 an hour, well, fuck off then. Maybe not that aggressively, but it happens. It also damages your reputation. So a lot of PTs don't think about this. If you're charging someone £10 an hour and then they fail to hit their goals, they then have that as evidence, or not evidence, ammunition against you. Oh well, he was only charging me £10 an hour. What went from a very, very positive thing for the client is then completely spun around 360 into a very negative thing. And they would see that as an excuse to then blame you. Okay, keep innovating. So, again, this happens a lot in the Facebook group of people that will ask you a question such as, for example, is the barter training any good? And of course it is in the right circumstances, but there are always PTs that say, no, this is how you should do it, low intensity training, bodybuilding style weightlifting, that sort of stuff. They're very stuck in their ways. In an industry such as ours, which is forever innovating, you need to obviously stay with the current trends, you need to stay up to date. So as a poll, 5 years ago, who here had a business Facebook page? Who has one now? So everyone. So for example, that may not be part of your training business, that is an innovation in your marketing strategy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you need to stay on trend with these things. So attend awesome conferences in Loughborough, workshops, seminars, network with other professionals. That to me is probably the biggest thing. Having a large body of professionals to kind of network with. As someone mentioned earlier, we're single unit businesses, so we don't often get to see other PTs. So my Facebook group, UK PTs, if you want to join it, feel free. I would also recommend reading daily. Any books, so for example, I've got a book list which I'll put on UK PTs later, but even things like, we mentioned earlier, like 4-hour work week, that's really good. Subscribe to journals. I try to get the concluded versions because otherwise I fall asleep. And then this is something I did recently, was starting up a local mastermind, because I didn't really know another name for it. Mastermind. Isn't that a villain in the film? But what I would recommend doing is get 4 or 5 personal trainers or fitness professionals, therapists, whatever, together, and once a week meeting up over a coffee or 12, and just going through and developing each other's businesses. So the way we did it was me, my judo coach, who's also a PT, one of my old training partners, and my CrossFit coach, who's also a PT. We all meet up once a week for a coffee, but on the first session what we do is we say, right, I say to him, right, PT Toolbox is at 100 members, I want to get to 250 by February, for example. Or I've just started at the fitness lodge, which is the gym I work in. I need to get to 5 hours a week, blah, blah, blah. And then what we do is we listen to each other, rather than just rambling on, about how we can get, or how they think we can get there. Because for me, it's very simple to be, when I'm around people like my business coach, it's very easy for me to just get lost down one kind of track. So he'll be like, right, Facebook ads, Google ads. But there are things like, face-to-face networking, delivering seminars, there's stuff that I don't think about necessarily, that other people will, so it's always good to get another opinion. And may I add there, trusted members only. So we had one guy, he was in the gym about 5 miles away from one of the other guys, and I said to him, what you need to do, is he's a brand new PT on the gym floor, I said, get a list of every new joiner, and do a weightlifting basics course. So, how to do a deadlift, how to do a strict press, how to do a front squat. And the other guy took it and just basically copied the entire thing and made loads of money. And he was pissed. Okay, serve your niche. So again, a niche market, as you guys probably know already, is the specific clientele that you really, really want to work with. So, for example, I'll be completely honest, I really don't like working with like really severely obese people. I just find it very, very boring. I prefer like athletic training, rehab, that sort of stuff. Which, you know, is your choice as to what clients you train. So as it says up there, scattergun approach, marketing to everyone is marketing to no one. Okay? So you need to really drill down, and we're going to do a task on this in 2 minutes. You need to drill down to who your ideal client is, where they hang out, what do they eat, who do they socialise with, where do they go, everything about them as much as possible. Okay, so what we'll do now, actually, we'll do it quickly. In pairs, just write down literally 2 lines about who your ideal client is. So just briefly, but concisely, just write down or think in your head if you must, about who your ideal client is. What you're laying down there. Hi, Mark, get comfortable. Remember. I just teach like this.
Well, so PTs generally tend to be
Okay, everyone agree with that? 30 seconds. We did a countdown as well. Okay, does anyone want to read out their example? Go once at once. Anyone? Go for it.
Mine's kind of like a very wealthy client. I actually like training the type of people that have got more time on hand to carry out the things that I'm saying. So the majority of my client base tends to be on that. I like the facility to still train hard, but I still like kind of ensuring that their anatomy is correct as they're going on. So it's just before that winding down retirement age, and they've got lots of money, and they don't know what to do with it, and they can spend it on me, and they've got more time to carry out the things I want.
Very nice. Good times. Anyone else?
Yeah, we're cool.
Go for it.
Right, I said that my ideal clients, obviously I work business to business, is personal trainers, but personal training who are coaches who understand lifestyle change as opposed to short term.
And my niche would be, I teach classes, so I'm pretty open to whoever happens to walk in today. But I also am a massage therapist, so I would work towards rehabilitation, and I'm quite happy to work with obesity as well.
So basically, the whole reason behind this is, as you see the tab at the bottom, if you don't know who you're talking to, how can you communicate effectively? So as people have already said today, you have your marketing voice. For example, I wouldn't talk to you guys as I would to like an elderly rehab client, because I can get sacked. And the same, whoever you're talking to, you need to be able to talk to them on a level that they understand, they engage with, and they like. When they trust you, they like you, and they're engaged with you, not engaged to you, engaged with you, then they'll buy from you. That's important. So you can literally, there are whole books written. There are whole books written on kind of niche markets. But some of the things that I talk to PTs about is the type of training you're doing. Does it appeal to your niche market? So, for example, if you're doing outdoor military kind of boot camp, lots of shouting, loud music, is that going to appeal to all of your? If you want to train seniors, that's not going to appeal to them potentially. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. The language you use in training as well. So, for example, my coach, if we're doing a hard workout, something like that, he'll literally get in my face, maybe even hit me a little bit, ball gagging, I'm joking. And he'll be very aggressive towards me, which I think that's cool. Yeah, that doesn't be crazy. Social media, voice and posts. So again, if I'm posting on my own Facebook, I'll speak freely. If I'm posting as PT Toolbox, I'll refrain from excessive swearing. I won't put it out completely because that's not being true to my voice. That's not how I communicate. I like to swear occasionally, sometimes too occasionally. But all you need to think about, everything in your business, so your logos, your website, all of your branding, your social media, your blogging, everything has to tie into one overall image of either yourself or the organisation, for example. Does that make sense? Again, with your niche, learn everything about them. Who they are, what they do, where they hang out, what they want. And then once you've got all this information, you can build really specific products that meet all of their needs and will appeal to them and make them just throw money at you, which is obviously a good thing. Unless, of course, you're allergic. Or if you're primal and live in a cave, then you can't accept their money. So you don't need it. Okay, systemization. So everything I do business-wise, I try and do it around a system. So to make my life as easy as possible, I have systems in place that will do things instead of me having to be there. So again, this can be quite boring setting it up, but if you do it right and you spend, say, a month getting all the systems right, it will make your life easier, say, a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line. Okay? So some of the things you can systemize: client sign-ups. So who here, if a client signs up with you, who here emails and documents? So a couple of you? Yeah, so one of the things you can do is set up a payment page, like a squeeze page on your website, and set it up automatically to send them a PARQ, liability waiver, informed consent, potentially some basic screening forms. You can set that up so it's automatically emailed. If that saves you 5 minutes a day, 7 days a week, then you're starting to add up, and that's something that's, that's more time you can drink espresso like home. Weekly emails, you could do what we call batch writing. So I'm just finishing, I'm about 3/4 of the way through like a 52-week autoresponder for personal trainers. So rather than just write one every week, I've written all of them, well I'm nearly finished them once I get around to it. I'll finish all of them and then just plug those into my autoresponder, and that's something else I don't have to worry about. And that'll get me their leads and so on and so forth. Social media. So what I do is I sit down at 10 o'clock on a Monday with my web developer. He's more just there, he's not actually helping as such. We write all of the social media posts for that week. So they're outlined, they're done. So normally 2 or 3 a day. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all done in one go. And then what we do is if there's anything that comes up, for example, I can't give you an example. If something comes up that is breaking news related to fitness, or like a news story, or something on the BBC, then we'll post about that as well. So we don't just program and forget, we also say, because if social media should be social, you don't just pre-program it and then forget. Client questionnaires as well, that can be done on auto sign up. And I do the same for blog writing as well, because I write for a few, I guess you call them celebrities, but kind of D-list at the moment, one of them is anyway. What I do is I write a batch of articles for, say, 6 months, and then just send them one a week and invoice them. Okay, this is actually this little kind of flow chart. This is an example from one of my businesses. So if you could automate, there's confusion between systemization, which is having systems in place, and automation, which fully takes that part out of your business. So something that's completely automated that you don't have to deal with. So I sell and teach level 2 and 3 courses on a one-to-one basis. So distance learning, but they only deal with me one-on-one. There's no classroom, say 30 people at a time. So what happens, they're directed to a web page via marketing, so be that Facebook ads, Google ads, posters in the gym, whatever. They then fill in an enrolment form on my website, which is a contact us form. They then pay via PayPal or bank transfer, but they have to go out of their way to do the bank transfer, because I like PayPal because it automates. The payment is automatically then made to the training provider, so my percentage is kept back and it pays the training provider. And then the student is sent an email automatically with the next set of start dates, their email logins, everything. So for that whole process, I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is set the Facebook ad, set the Google ad, set the posters out, get some affiliates in place, and then just forget about it. Until I obviously have to teach them, which is the annoying bit. That's nice. So, what things, if you just spend again another minute or 2 minutes with your partner in crime, how could you implement lots of copies there. How could you implement automation into your business? What sort of things could you include out of 1 second, I'll give you the answers. What could you include in your business? If you write down a few examples, then at least you're taking something away from this. Why did I do that? We just sit in coffee shops and drink espresso all day. And then we try and get it. Worst ones on 16 espresso. So has everyone got a few examples? Yeah? Does anybody want to read some out?
No, it's easy for me because obviously mine's already automated.
Actually, a good example of this. Can you tell, you know what you said about being on holiday with your kickback?
Yeah, I'm click back.
Can you tell that story?
What, being on holiday with my click back? Well, that's
Like what your friend said. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, that she obviously goes without money, and I'm sat there literally in Madeira. When I did go online, it was beautiful, so I didn't go online too often. I'm on it 24/7 normally. And every time I went online, and it sounds like I'm bragging, I'm not. I don't actually charge that much for memberships. I guess if you want to become a member, you're not making me rich, seriously. Every time I went online and looked at my Gmail, there was just clickback notice after clickback notice after clickback notice, notifications, which basically is telling me that money is going into my bank account. That's my automated system. It automatically takes payments from my members. When I first set up the business, it was weekly payments, then we moved to monthly, now we also do annual, and then we do a higher level because people wanted it bigger and better and brighter, and some of my PTs want to be like so exclusive that we're actually bringing out yet another plan for them that's even better. And she was sat there, and not only, I mean, obviously when you go on holiday, you've paid for the holiday. She found us a right old bargain. If you ever want a bargain holiday, I'll give you her details. She's incredible. But while we were sat there, so we both paid the same for the holiday, but she went without money, totally. No earnings that week whatsoever. I earned what I always earn because I was on my automated systems. You can run a face-to-face PT business and have an online business, and that online business then gives you your holiday pay. And I would encourage any PT, if you haven't started working online and you don't, or you just have a minor part online, and most of the work they're doing is face-to-face, I would encourage any of you to start setting up online systems.
What do you mean by that? As in sort of like what? As in...
It depends what you want to do. I mean, one of the guys that's on my system is a nutrition coach, and he only works online. So his nutrition business is to obviously send out a questionnaire, put up a Facebook ad, send out a questionnaire, client looking for a nutrition plan fills it in. It's quite a detailed questionnaire, admittedly. He then he sends a report back, also using my system. He sends them an individualised recipe book, which is why he can charge 150 a month. Now, as part of his fee, he does a weekly Skype with them and maybe adapts the plan, tweaks the plan. He's charging 150 a month to clients. You know, it doesn't take that many clients to have a good income coming in. It really doesn't. That's what he does, for example.
A little bit later on the slideshow. It's not that long. It's not like 8 hours long.
Yeah.
There's examples of how you can incorporate things into your business, and that's like a really key principle that I believe in, which I'm getting into. So, right, never compromising branding. So this is a really important one. So, for example, as the guy whose name I don't know, what's your name? James. So as James said earlier, kind of wants to deal with exclusive clientele. Well, that's what I'd call it anyway, exclusive, kind of higher end. However, what you'll find is a lot of personal trainers want to be, I want to be a celebrity PT or I want to be a high-end trainer, and then their website is absolute dog shit. For want of a better word, like they do it themselves on Vistaprint or something like that. You wouldn't find something like Rolls-Royce with a £100 website. Okay? Everything about that company reflects the image they want. Okay? Nothing is left to chance, which is again another slide in a minute. So there are three kind of mistakes I see a lot of PTs making, which we'll go onto in a second. Trying to be too many things. So again, I get this from PTs all the time. I wouldn't even say that I've got a specialty. I wouldn't call myself a specialist in anything. I'm not brilliant at anything really. But you can, as I said, you can be a bodybuilding coach, a weight loss specialist, a therapist, a group X instructor. and everything else under the sun, but are you doing any of those things to your full capacity? Are you good at any of those things, or are you just trying to please everyone? Okay, so that's what I see most people, out of fear, trying to please everyone, which I did as a PT as well. When I first started my first proper gym job as a PT at LA Fitness in 2009, I think it was, I would literally take any client. Come on, just get in my diary. I was just trying to fill it out. Even people that I didn't like to train, that wouldn't talk to me during sessions, I would still train them. Because I felt like I had to train everyone and be all things to all people. Which I'm not, surprisingly. That's right. This is number 2, there should be a 2 there. Sending mixed messages. So again, this kind of comes back to our point about if you want to train high-end people, everything about you should be high-end. Your uniform, the way you address your clients, the way the way you communicate with them, the gym that you use. You can't be a high-end PT and then be training out of like a spit and sawdust gym that's got like broken lights and no aircon. See what I mean? So it's all, if you're sending mixed messages to clients, again, it will put an element of distrust in there. They won't be as eager to buy from you as they would normally. Repositioning too soon is mistake number 3. So, for example, some of you might have done this as well. You do a course. Let's say, for example, I do a pre and postnatal course. That's just on my mind now, just the vaginas.
Okay. With his milk, with his breast.
So do a new course, kettlebells, pre and postnatal, whatever it is, and then you think, yeah, I'm going to be the go-to kettlebell expert in my area. And then maybe a month after that, it hasn't really worked out, so you think, oh, what's the next course I can do? And people reposition too soon. So what that means is, let's say you just come from a weight loss background. Everything about your branding should be geared towards that. Okay, so the content on your website, the way you write your blogs, the emotional attachments that you use, your logo, everything should be geared towards that niche market. And then all of a sudden you said, actually, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do this. So that's like Rolls Royce going, oh, we're going to sell luxury cars. Actually, no, we're going to go over to the budget market. And then everything about their business and everything about their marketing has then got to change to match that. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's a big problem that I see. When I was working, has everyone heard of the training room? Yeah, I'm going to get booed when I say that word. I used to work for them as an academy like lead tutor, and we'd have 30 people every 6 weeks going through as PTs. And the thing I would see over and over again on Facebook is people saying, oh, I'm a weight loss specialist, and then about a month later, oh, I'm a rehab specialist, and then 12 months later, it'd be something else. You know? Every month, people.
Josh, I've just remembered his name. One of our members called Darren Casey. If you want to see someone who's doing elite personal training really, really well, look up Darren Casey on Facebook. He does Get Lean PT. And he has just taken on a ton of internet marketeer millionaires, mostly American, and he works for them online. And he charges them a lot. But what I'm saying is look at his branding. Everything about him is to appeal to that marketplace.
So yeah, again, going back to the branding, if you might think something's expensive, for example, branding, but wait until you hire an amateur. You know, that's when it gets expensive to have it redone over and over again. Or, for example, using something for 6 months and thinking actually that could be done massively better. Okay, so this is a very important one. Create a strong following on social media. So probably 5 years ago, social media wasn't really a term that was used at all, was it really? For a business point of view. However, a strong following on social media now can literally be your entire business. So you need to sit down, I'd say probably for a half hour to an hour, and come up with a strategy that's going to allow you to get the most out of your social media. So how many people here, just from a show of hands, posts once a day on their Facebook page? Okay, so 4 or 5 people. 2 to 3 times. 400 times, yeah? Okay, anyone post up to 10 times a day on Twitter or Facebook? Okay, good. So on Twitter, they say the average should be up to about 10 posts a day to maximise your following, okay? And then there's things you can do. Oh, there we go, yeah. 1 to 10 times a day on Twitter and 1 to 4 times a day on Facebook. So I know, for example, in the past 6 months, the chance of me posting 4 times a day was very, very low. But to be honest, what are our excuses for not posting on social media? If you've got time to watch a video of a cat playing a piano, why can't you put a status up that says, drink my water for this reason? Or, it's very simple. Like, people say, oh, I haven't got time to do that. Well, you have. Let's be honest. And that includes myself. Post at multiple social media sites. So what I use is something called Hootsuite.
Yeah, I was just going to say Hootsuite. What you can also do is link your Facebook to Twitter.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So if you go to facebook.com/Twitter, you can link your Facebook page. So whenever you post on it, it goes straight to your Twitter feed. And then Hootsuite, you can, I think on a free account, you can do up to 3 social media networks. So I just do my LinkedIn, my personal Facebook, and my Facebook page. And then when I post on that once from my iPad or my phone, it goes to all 3 of them. And then because my Facebook page is linked to my Twitter, it also posts on there as well. It's a bit confusing, but using small tools like this can really help you to build like a bigger brand. Another thing that's quite simple to do, that you could literally spend one afternoon a week doing, is search your local hashtags. So for example, I live in a place called Leon C, so Leon C Fitness. See what comes up, follow them all, message them all, and then, because what, if I just quickly go back, I'll just tell you. It's called Tweeteller. So it's a paid program, I think you pay like a £10 a month. But you can set up, do you ever get those automatic replies when you follow someone? You can set those up using Tweeteller. So what I do is I search the hashtag. So at the moment, I'm really pushing my personal training courses. So I search hashtag personal trainer course. Anyone that comes up and says, oh, I really want to change your career, hashtag personal trainer course. I then follow them. When they follow me back, they get an automatic message saying, oh, I just saw your post about personal training courses, here's the info. And then that cycle starts again of hopefully them signing up. If they don't, cardinal sin. This is a big one actually. Don't avoid negative feedback and try and stay calm. So I think Karen mentioned it earlier, there are a few industry bigger names that get drawn into arguments, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because obviously it weeds out people that don't want their page. But I would not ignore negative feedback on your page because it shows people that you're human. And if you saw a company that had no negative feedback whatsoever, like let's say O2 or Argos, then you would immediately, there would be a seed of distrust there. There would be something, you would be thinking, why is there no negative feedback? Nobody's perfect. And the way you deal with that as well, if someone says, for example, I don't think it is extreme, but I didn't like your personal training session, you're on your phone for half an hour, blah, when you were smoking crack. Then you can just say, well, the crack is actually not pre-workout. And the reason I was on my phone is blah, 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 blah. But if you deal with it well, then at least your clients that can look past that will see the benefit. And the hashtag thing we've already spoken about. Okay, never leave anything to chance. This is where my little magic folder comes in. So as I said before, if I've got my black bag, it means I carry, are you ready for the nerdiness that I'm about to show you? It means that I'm carrying my entire business with me. So, for PT Toolbox, we record exercise videos, and I work primarily from a laptop. So there I've got my camera, microphone, all the leads for my various plug-in bits and pieces, styluses, pens, iPhone chargers, whatever I need. Okay, so that, and then I've got a wash kit in there, towel, saucepans, that's last one's a joke. But the reason for that is the amount of times I've been out, for example, training at my friend's gym. I'm like, well, I'm just going to sit down and do some work. Oh, my iPad's died. Oh, I haven't got my hard drive. Oh, I forgot my USB stick. Whatever. There's no excuse for it, So I decided to super geek it up and buy myself a nerd board. That's not the actual name of it. If you want, I can screenshot Amazon and show you what it was. But some of the things that I do within my actual PT business itself is I use a website called PT Distinction, which is run by a guy called Tim Say. And that allows you to do full programming with exercise videos, printouts, adherence, loads of automated stuff as well, like loads of stuff that he emailed me about a little while ago. But that runs the entire programming section of my PT business. So I still write the program, but I use his software to write it up, print it up, and also they can then track their workouts on there as well. So that's the programming part done. I use FitPro client recipes for nutrition and recipe books. That's that part done. That adds massive value. For scheduling, for the group PT, I use Go Team Up, which is relatively cheap, and that just you can block out certain amounts of time and put like there's 5 available spaces, waiting lists. So it's a whole client management software. And then this last one, this is lifestyle balance. So I don't leave that to chance. Have you ever had it where you've booked out in your diary, right, Saturday's my day off, and then a client says, oh, I'll do Friday, can you do Saturday? You go, I'll just go for 1 hour. And then 10 hours later, you're like, oh God, what happened? So the main thing I do is if, for example, I pick up my daughter every Tuesday and Wednesday at 3 o'clock from school, and then I have it every weekend, either Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday. So those days are always blocked out in my diary. There's nothing that, apart from she's on holiday now, so I'm not being hypocrite. So nothing will get in the way of those times and days. Okay? So I just feel that a lot of PTs with their business and lifestyle balance don't take enough control. You might have even experienced that yourself. You're working 6 a.m. till 12 and then 8 till 10. You know, you're just working all hours of the day. And my question to you guys would be, is it worth it? If I go on for too long, I'll go on 2 minutes. Okay, I won't go for the question. Expanding your services. So this was a big one for me as well. After the birth of my daughter, was trying to secure enough income to make my life easier, so I could work where I wanted to do whatever, time off, doesn't matter. Live the life I want to live. And the only way I could see past that was not obviously getting 9 to 5, it wasn't doing more PT. To me, it was expanding my services. I was offering more, there were more potential income streams coming to me. Does that make sense? Yeah, so PT Toolbox, for example, that's my website. That's a monthly residual income from the membership, monthly membership. I also, like I said, the ghostwriting, that's an hourly invoice. I do seminars, courses, all these things. If I lose one of those things, it's not really that bad. But if I just PT and I lost 5 clients in a week, that could be very, very bad. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, cool. So some of the ways you can diversify: nutrition plans, dressing books, selling supplements, which I also do that as well, group personal training, seminars and workshops, equipment retail, corporate training and clothing retail. If any of you want to go into any of these in more detail, then my email's at the end and you can just drop me an email and we'll arrange a call free of charge. I'm going to go through these properly. Represent your brand with a passion. So one of the people that I've been taken on by recently, who I said was the kind of D-lister, I guess you call her, is Jodie Marsh. So I'm writing for her and doing all of her fitness-based stuff for her now. And the thing that hit me the most is people go, oh, she's a bitch. But she's not. It's just that. Have you seen her supplement range, JST Nutrition? Like Semtex, all the fat burners and stuff. She's very, very passionate about it. And the reason people say, oh, she's a bitch, is because it's her name on the line. And if it was me, I'd be exactly the same. So some of the things I've seen PTs do: smoking before clients, not dressing properly for clients, using a phone during sessions, being late, being a know-it-all. I mean that more in a professional sense. Not admitting when you're wrong. So I've seen PTs that have done things majorly wrong, been questioned on it, and then just fought their corner for too long. Not supporting your clients enough, not updating your education, which that's a whole other lecture, and then networking professionally. So again, on Facebook groups, stuff like that, don't burn bridges, which I've seen too many people do. Okay, so if you have any questions, my email is josh@pttoolbox.co.uk. If anybody wants a free phone call, consultation, anything like that, just let me know. And then also on the Facebook side of things, there's /UK PTs, and that's a group of, I think, 2,500. So if you need advice from a group of people, then feel free. And also, if you contact me via Facebook or email about UK PTs, if you are running courses or business-to-business stuff and you want to advertise, then just let me know, and if I okay it, then it's fine. If you don't, you'll be kicked out, alright?